Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Shift into Purpose Challenge. I am your tour guide for this 21 days, John Mason, better known as Dr. M, the Purpose Disruptor. And I'm not even putting him backstage this tonight. It doesn't make any sense. I am joined by Darius J of the men's department. He
Yo,
has
yo.
been giving it to us, chopping it up, making it just ridiculously wonderful um, all week long. And tonight we're going to get into shifting. This entire week we've been dealing with shifting your character. And tonight we're going to be dealing with what do you stand for? I promised him that I would not send him any curveballs. I promised him that I would not change the subject. So I am going to do just that. But before we get started on that, let me just go ahead and give a couple of reminders. All week long, we have been dealing with the concept of shifting. And SHIFT is an acronym which basically says sitting with yourself and Jesus, setting aside a time where you can just be with yourself to deal with the things that are pressing on your heart, to be transparent and open with yourself. The H stands for hearing the Father's voice. Once you identify the things that need to change inside of you, what are you listening to? Are you listening to your own self, which says it's not that bad? Or are you listening to God, which says there's some things that I need you to change? The I stands for investing in your purpose. It's important that you put resources behind what you have been put on this planet to accomplish. Some of the more seasoned folks have three or four things that they are working on. Some folks only have one. Some folks have not begun to work on what they're supposed to. Maybe because of fear, maybe because it's too daggone big. Maybe because they're in denial that they believe that that's not time yet. Whatever it may be, invest in your purpose. The F stands for forgiving offenses. Unforgiveness is one of those things that asks for the tormentor to come into your life. And many of us are tormented in so many different areas because we refuse, and I do mean we refuse to forgive some folks in our lives. And that's never a good thing. And finally, the T stands for taking accountability. Taking accountability. If you did it, say you did it. Don't shirk it. Don't move it. Don't try to be anything else but yourself. Because if that's what you did, then that's what you did. As I told last folks last night, the Shift into Purpose journal that's a part of this particular series is now available on Amazon and also through the Purpose Refined by Fire website. You can go to either place to place your order. Got word today that some folks were having a little bit of a problem ordering it because some things didn't work. So here's what I need you to do. You can either go to the purposerefinedbyfire.com website, go all the way down to the bottom and click the button that says you want to join. We'll collect a little bit of information and we'll send you an email. Or you can email me directly at jlmason at purposerefinedbyfire.com. Either way, I will get the information. If you email me, tell me how many books you want and the address that you want them shipped to. And it will be my absolute pleasure to go ahead and send you an invoice so that you can go ahead and get that paid for. And we will figure out exactly uh, how to get them to you. The time on that should not be more than about 2 weeks, if even that long, because I hope to have them to you before we get too much deeper into this. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different. So what I would like is, Brother Darius, go ahead and introduce yourself instead of me going ahead and reading your bio. Tell the good people who you are and what you
Uh,
stand.
Oh man, what's up, everybody? This My name is Darius J. You know what I'm saying? If you know me, you know my last name. Got to say it. But I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? That stand for helping uplift other men. You know what I'm saying? Trying to help us get our lives together. You know what I'm saying? Under the sun. You know what I'm saying? I pray, and I am a person 1/3 of the men's department. You know what I'm saying? It's a group of us. You know what I'm saying? It's trying to build a community of solid men, young men, to make purpose out here of this life. You know what I'm saying? Uh, not only talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Mhm.
Um, y'all can check us out on Spotify, Apple, everything. We everywhere. You know what I'm saying? On every platform at the men's department. Um, and what I stand for is health and wellness, you know what I'm saying, of the mind, the body, and the soul. All three things work together for us to be able to traverse this plane, you know what I'm saying? But I do know, one day when we hit this dirt, the soul got somewhere else to go, and I want to make sure you're going to the right place.
That's good stuff. We were beginning to talk about what do you do when you are faced with the harder questions of where should I go? How should I serve? What should I get myself involved in? Which absolutely goes to the questions of the evening because the saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to again start off with the easy questions. And I love starting off with questions that are easy, but not easy. Um, Again, men are often given things that they are to believe in while they are still very young.
Mm.
They are told, you will believe this, and you won't believe this. You will put your life in line behind this, and you won't put your life in line behind this. So it's kind of difficult for me to sort of ask this question, but I have to. How do we fight through the confusion of what do I really stand for? Because
Mm.
right now it's situational. If that sounds good, I'm going to stand for that. That sounds good, I'm going to stand for that. If that sounds good, I'm going to go ahead and switch and stand for that. But it's very difficult to say, this is what I stand for, whether it's convenient or not, whether it's popular or not, whether other folks are standing with me or whether I'm standing alone. That's not something that a whole lot of men are proud to say that they do.
Mm. To me, sometimes that is breeded because in this country they don't allow for objectivity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if we are objective and we challenge the status quo, it's hard for you to develop an identity of oneness in yourself. You know what I'm saying? We start doing things. Just think about how we live our lives. We live our life wearing brands on our, that's somebody's name on our body. So we automatically adopting having something other than ourselves go before us before we even speak. So at root of the thing, we need to learn who we are outside of the material parts of our lives. I was like, who are you when you close your door at the house at night? You know what I'm saying? Um, Learning to develop a healthy self-talk and understanding like that everything that everybody does don't mean you have to do it. If it go along and fit your objective, fine. But if it don't fit like who you are at your core and it's causing you to step outside of your moral compass or causing you to get into a fit of confusion and really not know where you are and who you are in these things, it's time to kind of pull back from the crowd and find out who you are before you rejoin the masses. So sometimes it's time to go in that little cave for 40 days and 40 nights just to to get that God reassurance. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. But if I have lived a life that said I don't want to rock the boat, I may not be quite so eager to be vocal that I think differently than you do.
Well,
And, being a Christian, it may be something as simple as praying over your food while you're out at a restaurant.
hmm,
There are many people who just dive into the food, even though when they're at home, they make a big production of making sure that they pray.
hmm. Oh boy, don't let it
But
be
when they're
combo.
out, but when they're out, it may be one of these. Did your mouth open?
I ain't said nothing. Just close down, let the chin hit the chest and come back up. Like,
And that's it.
that be it. But that's the
So,
thing. If you live a life of shame, because sometimes with that stuff, I be like, what are you ashamed of? What are you afraid of? Why does everybody else? Why does everybody else get to dictate who you are? You know what I'm saying? Why haven't you wanted to answer the question, who am I? Where am I from? Who do I come from? Because just like in the word to say I knew you before you know what I'm saying, you formed your mother's womb. So that means before you got here, you had an identity all in your own. You know what I'm saying? So when
mhm.
you got presented to this world, you had a set, you had a set path. But a lot of times when we get out here, I will I'm gonna use technology analogies now. We come as a ready operating system, ready to learn, ready to get everything that we need to have, ready to give the world everything we have. But then you're around people that have their own ideas and they start installing their software. And and when you're young, it feels like it's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? You feel like, yeah, they teaching me right. You know what I'm saying? But when you get older, you start feeling that yearning for something else, that yearning to be different from what everybody else has set up for you. And that's the thing that God been having you want wanting you to have your purpose for the whole time. But a lot of times we get changed by fear. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about this week. It's fear. And then when you start getting fear, you start to lose what you stand for, what you stand on, and you can't even really stand up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that's the thing that we lose through a lot of fear mongering from our people, our family, our loved ones, because they do love us, but they do, if we come with a purpose that's bigger than their scope of thinking, they fear you into being, yeah, like Sister Quanquita said, stuck. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and all that stuff like that. And then you start to feel ashamed in the group because you be like, well, everybody else think like this. I should want to go with the crowd, but I know I got to do this. And that's the thing when you have, sometimes you have to just break off that path. You know what I'm saying? If you break off that path, you will find others like you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that we forget, that like, you might not, you have a unique thought in this side of this group, but it's other people with unique thoughts going in a different direction that God gonna place in your on your path and on your journey. They're gonna help you get to the purpose and to the things that you supposed to stand on in this kingdom.
But Darius, as we've been talking all week long, there is this not so subtle bullying of
Mm,
people who have different ideas,
right.
different stances.
Okay.
And just so I don't have to hear it, I may go along to get along.
Mm,
And it's so interesting because when we begin to adopt that sort of philosophy, for a moment anyway, we forget who we are.
Hmm.
We lose our identity for sake of camaraderie, friendship, or gamesmanship, because we want to at least assume that it looks like I'm with you. Even though underneath my breath, I'm saying, I don't believe none of this mess that's coming out your mouth. None of it.
Well, that's the definition of being lukewarm. You know what I'm saying? Um, when you find out you're neither hot or cold, you're no good to nobody. Nobody
Mm.
wants lukewarm water. You know what I'm saying? They either want cold water to refresh them or hot water to cook and clean. You know what I'm saying? When you lukewarm, you neither. And then you find out once you start doing that, you in a place where you don't let the enemy put you in a place of comfort because you seeking the comfort of people. You ain't seeking the growth and the stance of God. You'd rather make people feel good. You know what I'm saying? You ain't how would you turn your back on your purpose just to make other people feel good? Why would you not do the things that God instructed you to do just to feel good around people? They ain't got a heaven or a hell to throw you in. You know what I'm saying? So if we in that place, we have to question our motives and why are we like that? Why do we have this conflict avoidance? You know what I'm saying? Why do we have um a crowd seeking behavior instead of just saying, in order for me to grow, in order for me to be the man or woman I'm supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? I may have to go against the grain. A lot of times when you go against the grain, you refine things. Just like I used to lay hardwood floors. We're supposed to go against the grain to make it smoother, to make it better, to make it get to the finished product. Going against the grain often refine things and take away the impurities and the things that are not necessary for the whole picture. You know what I'm saying? So, or the whole look of the floors that I laid. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, as we on this journey and we around these people and we people pleasing, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a people pleasing behavior. If you just worried about what everybody think of you, I look at it like this. What would you think? How you think God feel about that? You know what I'm saying? How do you think God sees and view you rather to please people than to please him? The one that extended you this grace and the opportunity to get right on this plane, what you can get right. You know what I'm saying? But you instead of just say, man, I'd rather just hang with these people that mean well, but don't mean me well.
And I don't think that they mean well, to be very honest. Because we've talked about all week we've talked about things like men dealing with trauma,
Yeah.
men dealing with wounds that have never healed, men dealing and trying to get over relationships that have been broken, shattered, men coming from families where they are dysfunctional at best, tragic at worst, men coming from communities that have never embraced them, never encouraged them, never supported them, men
Mm,
coming from areas where even though they are successful, they still believe into their depth that they're going to fail. And with the promotion comes how long before that gets snatched away from me? And this is no different in my mind's eye because when we start talking about this, we are talking about the place where a man says, I'm going to put up very careful walls and boundaries. And the walls and boundaries are defined and designed to keep me safe
hmm,
because I don't trust you. And because I
hmm,
don't trust you, I'm never going to be my authentic self around you for fear that you may judge me. You may abandon me. You may tell me that I am insufficient.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, welcome, Cuzzo. Thank you. I don't remember ever having the two coaches. Coach Q, I have no idea what time it is halfway around the globe where you are,
I'm trying
but
to
Konnichiwa.
see. Oh man. I would say just to exist is troublesome on its own when you have all those variables in play. And a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, when we have these, life is not without resistance. Resistance gonna come with looking like a friend. Resistance gonna come looking like family. Resistance gonna come looking like a job. Resistance gonna come looking like a whole bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's just like, if we're not fortifying ourselves in this life, you know what I'm saying, in the word, in community of wellness, you know what I'm saying, and having the proper things in place to help weed out the noise, such as counselors, psychiatrists, and all these mental health professionals out here, you know what I'm saying, along with preachers and pastors in tandem, you know what I'm saying, we can't, you know what I'm saying, we can't get away from friction, you know what I'm saying, because just like, Jesus said he'll make our burdens light. We yoked up with him to make the burdens lighter.
Right.
It ain't gonna be without the load. You know what I'm saying? And if you have any kind of purpose or anointing on your life, it's gonna be a load that come with it, and you're gonna have to do the work that you're gonna be in tandem with the Holy Spirit, but the friction that goes along with these things and the growth that has to happen, because all these things are like with the friends and the family and the people pleasing and all that stuff like that. That stuff is learned and taught behavior a lot of times. So when you figure these things out to be your I forgot, it was a term my counselor used to use. I can't remember. I always forget that term. But when it becomes that thing that puts you in the rut and you can't go no further and you stuck, or you start to build these boundaries around you that keep you in place, you actually operating and building your own prison. Because a lot of times we in these prisons and these walls, our self-talk keep us in those places. If we don't have any positive self-talk, we don't have that reinforcement, we don't we and that's how the enemy isolates us and condemns us. That's what he want to do the most. He know if I get you in that mode of condemnation, I got you stuck for a while, especially if you don't want to go seek no help. And if all I got you for yourself, I just need you off your plan for 30 days. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. And we have to be as calculated. And that's why I say the people that you call your friends and your family, and the people that you talk to, they gotta start matching up what you thinking too. Everything got to align itself. If you ain't in alignment, of course you're gonna always feel like you in a group of people that ain't got that. You're gonna be a sheep and you're gonna be around goats. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be doing a lot of things. That's right, dissonance. You know what I'm saying? And we have to want to get out of these places. And a lot of times I know it ain't as simple as just having a thought. You got to do the work behind it. And if you don't
Right.
want to do the work behind it, you can't be helped, because if every time somebody offer a man a solution, he got an excuse, you don't want to get out of it. You want somebody to drag you out, but nobody can save you but yourself at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? You have to want wellness. You have to want wholeness. You have to want to get outside of the status quo and to break into something new. If you don't want it and you don't have that steady, slow burn of perseverance to get out of these hard parts, that you will always be in the valley. You'll always be in the shadows of your own life. And that's crazy.
Maybe crazy, but it's so true. And one of the things that I just find to be so like man is the slightest resistance and we fold like a house of cards.
Yeah.
We don't do well pushing through.
Mm.
Unlike our sisters who show up bloodied, beaten, bruised, but they're going to get to the goal.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have a mark on us, but we don't get there.
Yeah.
We we look good. And when somebody says, well, why didn't you go ahead and fight with them? Oh, I'm
Well. Mm.
Mm-mm. I'm good. I'm
Mm.
good. I'm good.
All right. All right.
Darius, come
So,
on.
all right. All right. I'm warming up. You know what I'm saying? Um. So men do. I have had the opposite. I fight too hard and don't ask nobody for help. I be but my people will see me and I say I'm all right. And I know I look like I've been in war for many years, you know what I'm saying? But to a man that don't want that conflict, don't want to fight through and persevere, like this life is a fight. You ain't gonna avoid these fights. And if you keep avoiding them, and then one day you're gonna wake up and find out that, like, man, all my blessings was on the other side of a fight that was already pretty much won. I just had to do the small, it seemed big at the time, but I had
Mhm.
to do it, just had to buy in on the small part on my own. Cause it's like all this help is out here. All you have to do is say you need it. But if you willing to just die with your shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and die with all this purpose and everything that you're supposed to leave on this earth. Because I say this all the time, a lot of times for myself, and the reason why I try so hard and I go so hard and I keep shooting all my shots, because I don't want to go before God and He roll out these things, everything I was supposed to be, and I didn't become none of it. And then it was just like, yeah, your life was it was a little tough, but I had all this stuff out here for you to give, the not only for you, but for the people around you. And I don't want other people to miss out on their blessing because I wasn't willing to be a little uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And we would like say, but it's bigger than that. It's not. You have to stop making how everything comes to you be super, super big. It sometimes you have to shrink it down to its smallest part. Okay. For example, for myself, I know I work a lot. I work hard. I work a lot of long hours. But I also have things I need to get done that I know requires my attention. And sometimes it's too much of my attention. But if I don't make it chop it up into small digestible bites, I have to with the time frame I had to chop these things up and make them to small digestible bites between 5 to 6 days. I always give myself 1 day of rest, but I have to chop it up and say, all right, I'm gonna do this right here on this day. I'm gonna do this right here on this day. And it may not seem like it's a lot to a lot of people, but the more over time that I keep doing these little small things, a lot gonna be done in 365 days. And that's with anything that you do with yourself, for is getting your mental together. Just like I said, all right, when I was really struggling, going to counseling for every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, I said it ain't every week. I don't really have the time for every week, but I can do
Mhm.
it every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I can sit in there, come in there in my truth, not coming in there blaming people because it's like I want men at your grown up age to stop blaming everybody for your wrong. People are out here actually doing their best no matter how it come across and how damaging it is. And it is, I hate that that's the case. But in our adult age, we have to understand, like, hey, my mama might have said something crazy to me back in the day, but she was doing her best. It ain't no way I can hold my mama in contempt for that for all my life. and then everything that come after that is your fault. Like, no, like I said the other day, you've been 18 longer than you've been older than 18 longer than 18 years. That's a you thing. That ain't a them thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's time for you to get in motion to unravel these balls of yarn and these knots in your body and your chest and start to really buy into who God called you to be and who he wants you to be. If you're not willing to do that, all you're gonna be able to say is this thing, that thing, people don't believe what I believe and stuff like that. Go where people believe you at, like you at. And it's sound crazy to say, but you have to start taking a step in the other direction in order to do different things.
Now I'm so glad you went down that slippery slope. Now I get to push you.
Come on, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go.
We crave comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a drug to us.
But that one of the toughest ones.
When we finally get that group of friends that we can vibe with, this is good for me.
Yeah.
When we finally get that church where I can do what I want, but not what I don't want,
Oh
it's
man.
good for me.
But that's where I
When I've
was.
got the job
But,
that uses some of my skills, but doesn't stretch me
man.
into another space, it's
Man.
good for me. When I find that young lady that says, baby, you don't have to do anything. I like you just as you are,
Man.
and doesn't ask me for anything more, it's great for me.
Oh man.
Yeah. However, you just
However,
said, comma,
come.
if I'm not getting what I should have, I should step away from comfort.
Yes.
That's what you said.
And that's what you said. And I meant that. I stand on that. You know what I'm saying?
But that's uncomfortable.
Uh some
Where's my drug?
Hey man, you either gonna get addicted to the drug of failure or the drug of success.
I
Drug
can
of
be successful and comfortable.
to a point, because if you are not, if your success banked off of your 10%, that means you ain't living at the other 90. I was I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe this morning. I'm glad we talking about this.
Oh, goodness.
This sermon, it came back across me, and I shared it with a couple of brothers of mine. It's just like we act like, you know what I'm saying, we don't we don't make things so mediocre in our worlds that we are okay with hitting 10% and then doing 1% more, and that makes us a genius, which actually you're only operating at a small percentage of yourself. And if you're comfortable with that, because at the end of the day, the older you get, you're gonna realize like this is boring. I'm not really fulfilling my purpose. I fulfill my pockets. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stand on business. I just did enough to make everybody else around me relax. And I relaxed. But that thing that is like for us as men and men of God, when you just doing enough and you lull yourself to sleep in that comfort, that's when the enemy gonna come destroy. That's when a lot of things get taken away because you ain't really aware no more. You just like, man, as long as I'm getting this same old, I'm doing just fine. But if you were never so been a if you were never meant to stay in that place, when that place get taken from you, and then you blame God, well, like God, like I didn't mean for you to stay at 10%. Like I didn't create you for 10%. And now that it's gone, you mad at me? I've been telling you to move on. Those notions in your mind and in your spirit, that turmoil, that was me saying you got more to do, and you kept choosing not to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then when inevitably life passes you by, time moves on, and you feel like, man, I should have did so much more. You know you could have did more. But the thing of it is, we get so used to comfort and not effort. You know what I'm saying? Because comfort don't take a lot of effort for real.
No.
Like I said, it just take 10% for real. Like in life, to get to a comfortable place, you all you have to do is really operate at 10%. Because even my mentor used to tell me that. He said, "Man, you so good at your 10 to," he's giving about 10 to 50, 10 to 25%. He's like, sometimes you step in that 25% and I see who you really can be. And I'll be like, just keep going. And I was just like, but I don't want too many people to see that, because you see that, you're gonna want some more. But if your call on your life that big, why would you go against God and what he gifted you with just to see a soft place to lay? You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sorry. What did you just say?
Why would you go against what God is? To just
No, no,
seek
no.
a soft.
Before that, the
Oh,
one right before that.
I don't remember that part.
Oh, you don't? Okay, let me go and see if I can remind you.
Oh, the call on your life. Yeah, I remember that. I heard that. Yeah, yeah.
If a brother is scared of his own shadow, scared of failure, scared of rejection, scared of the duplicity of the lives that he lives, dare we even say his calling in the same sentence with 90%?
Hmm. Huh.
While you're thinking, let me go ahead and give this paid political announcement.
Go ahead.
Men, many of you are struggling with the fact that you know what you are called to do.
Mm.
You have a relationship with Jesus, you have a relationship with God. You are in this place, as my grandmama used to say, as skittish as a long tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. And that's because that thing that you have been called to do takes you out of everything that you have so carefully crafted so nobody knows who you are.
Mm.
And by abiding by that call, you will have to go into the light. Carrie Ann, you are
Yeah,
going to have to take that to the next level. And to be very honest with you, you would rather have a root canal.
man. I'd rather get my wisdom teeth pulled out again. Oh, but because that's like I said, I can speak from this. You know what I'm saying, on a personal tip. You know what I'm saying. It's like for me, and I don't know. I know some men out here can relate. You know what I'm saying? You know where you at, you know your purpose on your life. You know people been speaking and prophesying, praying, and seeing things that they ain't unseen to you. You know it and you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You see it in your life all the time. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of times you have to just stop denying it and just like lean into it and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Um, a lot of times it's gonna be scary. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be um don't think just because you lean into it that it's just gonna greet you with a hug. Because a lot of times when you start leaning to your purpose and stuff like that, it's you finna get refined by fire. Period. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things gonna shift. You know what I'm saying? You gonna shift some friends, you gonna shift some jobs, you gonna shift some places. You know what I'm saying? But the thing of it is just like if you put yourself in a place to get repurposed by God the way He already sent you to be here and have that purpose, and you allow true growth to happen and not be afraid to be alone for a while. because sometimes in that refinement, when you go in that fire and you that unrefined ore, you in that fire by yourself until they burn away everything they need to burn in order to get to the purity, the pure part of who you are. And that's when the shaping and the molding gonna happen. And guess what? A lot of times when they start shaping metal, they hit it a lot hard. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to scare y'all men out here. I'm just letting you know that like with this life and this path and what God called us to be for our families, our friends, our churches, and our communities, we have to go through that process in order to really live this life the way God. We have gifts to give to this world, and we're supposed to relinquish this gift back to um, this earth. We have to season this earth with our salt. And if we ain't willing to do that and we willing to just store this salt up into storehouses that never get released to the people, that's the same as burying yourself while you still on your feet.
That's true. That's true.
And we can't be afraid. I know it's gonna hurt. And it's gonna hurt some people around you. It's gonna be some people around you want to see you the same way you were, want to experience the same OG. But in real life, in this walk right here, it's difficult for a reason. And don't be afraid to change. Change is the one thing that's inevitable on this earth. It's gonna happen. You either gonna change for the better or the worse. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
But
I'm
now,
speaking more to myself right now.
but that now you brought us to where we gonna have to talk about some stuff that's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable for the bros.
Yeah,
And that is, as much as we love to talk a good game, we're scared of the unknown.
yeah,
We fear that probably more than anything else in the world.
yeah,
And it is that unknown that often holds us back from taking that step into calling, step into purpose, step into that next level, expanding into the 90%. It's difficult for us
yeah.
because we've become really good at our 10%. I mean, we've mastered that 10%.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it driving, we can do it sitting, we can do it in our sleep, we can do it when we awake, we can do it high, we can do it low. That 10% is golden. When we hit that 11th percent, sir,
Hmm.
when we hit that 25th percent, sir,
Mm-hmm.
when we hit 50%, mm-mm, I'm hyperventilating.
Yeah,
When we hit 65%, I need a Xanax.
yeah. And a lot of times it's just, yeah, we have to get to the point where we really believe what God say about us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a lot of times when we own that deal of, because at the end of the day, when we regress back after we reach a new level, we start to self sabotage, and then you start having that identity crisis where you feel like I'm an imposter.
Stay right there. Hold on. Is the imposter syndrome because we're doing something that we think we can't? Or is the imposter syndrome because we're doing something that we can do, but we don't believe that will be accepted?
I think it's something that we doing that we can do, and it's just not accepted, or we may be afraid that what people see from us now is like, where that come from? When you started being able to do that, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And a lot of times when we get in them places, we don't want to have to answer no question. We just kind of already been skilled at it, and we kind of been used to holding back just to try to make everybody else around us feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's when you step into that thing that you are. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that in one of my meetings one time. I really stood up and said what I had to say and presented information. It was just there. I was like, oh, he talking, and, and this sound right. But I know it was one guy. He was just like, oh man, say Darius, man, when you became this guy. Like kind of became, I always been this guy. I just kind of let y'all have what y'all have because I just don't feel like hurting nobody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's just like when you find out who you are, don't forget it. And don't let that be like a flash in the pan. You know what I'm saying? Keep that thing cooking. Keep them fires stoked. It ain't gotta be a big, huge fire, but keep that drive alive. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be coming in like motivation and then dissipate as soon as life keep lifing. You gotta have that steady burn, that steady ember. Some days it'll blaze up some days, but you gotta keep it constant. And you have to even just like Sid said in the chat, like master 10% more every year. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for myself, that's something that I've been working on. I've been buying more into who I am by standing up, standing out, speaking up. I never been a quiet person, you know what I'm saying? And I normally but a lot of times I will pull my genius back just for everybody in the room to be comfortable. And like now I'm finding out like, oh man, you leader. That's why things are not moving. It's because you keep holding back when people really looking at you and saying, well, he's consistent. I need the consistent guy to come up and start to lead. Don't be afraid to fill the shoes in what you already wearing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we be already having these things on and we afraid for nothing because we already doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you basically, the false evidence appearing real. You don't fear yourself into something that out of something and you was already doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, come on, bro. Like we can do this. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, but just like we having this conversation right now, there's people out here feeling just like you. We
Yeah.
have we have empathy for you guys. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why we extending ourselves through this internet, Al Gore's internet, to speak to y'all and let y'all know that hey, y'all ain't in this fight by yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us walk around here with purposes that bigger than ourselves, and we can't be afraid of this. You know what I'm saying? We got to be able to walk this walk together. That's the reason why we're trying to build this community. That's why Dr. Mason building this shift community. You know what I'm saying? This purpose refined by fire because he know what it gonna take. He know what we need. We know what we need, and we just trying to get through our own personal experiences, through our conversations, through our time shared, you know what I'm saying, in different spaces. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, God is a beautiful God. He worked things out. If it weren't for certain people, I know I would have never met this man. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
It's just like you have to allow to break away from certain things to get introduced to newness and to be able to do something new, to be able to work and collaborate. It's bro, it's this stuff coming together so smooth. It's a little scary sometimes.
Doesn't it
Even
blow
with
your
myself.
mind?
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, if this but the thing of it is, I know I got the right people around me that ain't got to
Right.
really be afraid of anything.
Right.
And that's what I would want to leave men with. Stand with your people that stand with you for real, that stand on good morals, stand on God first before anything. You know what I'm saying? God got to be number one. Have good standing in the community. Have a good rapport with not only your fellow male compatriots, your opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? Treat the sisters right. You know what I'm saying? They can help her. If we read the Bible for real, you will understand how instrumental women are in making these things happen and come together for us. You will understand why health and all this stuff like this is just more of what's supposed to be happening. You know what I'm saying? Like this kingdom is supposed to grow. You know what I'm saying? With us helping move God purpose on.
I tell you what, let me ask this question because
Yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah.
Will we have the entire men's department tomorrow?
We trying to get something together. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see
I,
everybody can
I
get their
know I'm asking
phones
a
up.
lot.
Yeah,
I
we
know I'm
trying.
asking a lot.
We're gonna try. You know, see. I'm confirm. I will communicate by midday.
Well, just let me know. Let me know.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
tomorrow we're going to be talking about rebuilding the walls of a man's life. Rebuilding the walls of a man's life. And it's gonna be powerful.
Right.
I'm gonna take that right now. It's gonna be powerful.
Yeah.
Coach K, you just can't help yourself, can you? You
Mhm.
just can't.
Mhm.
Always got to have stretch goals. Well, the stretch goal for tonight is mark down 5 things that you know you stand for. Rain, shine, high water, no water, inside, outside. There's 5 things that you know that you stand for that are part of the pillars
Or
that
who
you
you
are.
are. Yeah, that's right.
The pillars, not the boards going across, the
Mhm.
pillars that they drove into the ground to keep everything else up.
Everything else up. When everything go down, you still got them pillars, and that means you still ready to be building and be
Exactly.
built upon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Woo! This has been good, y'all. It's been so good. So again, to join the shift movement, going out to purposerefinedbyfire.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, click that join button.
Yeah.
It will allow us to send you an email and get you into the system so that we can go ahead and set you up for some things. We've got newsletters coming out. We've got daily affirmations coming out. We've got special offers coming out. Um, if you don't want to do it that way, just go on out to JL Mason at purposerefinedbyfire.com. Send me an email. Same thing if you want the book that we were talking about earlier, that good new release, the Shift into Purpose Journal, now available at $18, a beautiful discount. Again, go ahead and send me that good email at jlmason at purposerefinedbyfire.com. Tell me how many copies you want and tell me where you want me to send it to. And it would be my absolute pleasure to make sure that I sent you exactly what you need. One of my colleagues from Mercer University was the first to go ahead and order books for her 2 sons. And what she doesn't know is I'm going to give her an extra 3 books because she's the first to order. And
Mm.
I believe in first fruits. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say, bless some brothers in your life with these other 3 so that we can go ahead and get that work out there so that they can get to know what they're doing. Darius J, you have been amazing. As always, appreciate you so much for your insight, for your candor, for your genuineness. And more than anything else, I appreciate the fact that you have taken time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us on the Shift into Purpose journey. Um, Believe it or not, y'all, tomorrow is day number 10. We're about to turn that corner with a quickness.
Yeah.
And when I tell you this thing is going to wrap up quickly, so if you're slow in getting it, go back and watch the recordings. They have been fire. Go
Yeah.
back and watch them. Get your notebook, glean, begin to work out the shift day by day. It's just Monday through Friday. Saturday is a day to reflect and catch up, and Sunday is a day of rest, as Darius said earlier. You need that day to just chill.
Yeah.
You
Just
need that
chill.
day to chill. But until tomorrow, please remember that shifting is not just for men, It is designed for men. However, it's also for the women who love them. And if you do this, I promise you will be able to decide, declare, and defend exactly who you are and your purpose. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. We appreciate you greatly.
Peace.
We all want to be happy, but the majority of us have no idea what to do. See, the Japanese have a concept called ikigai, which roughly translates into a reason for being. You need to have a purpose for being here. But this is easier said than done because there are 4 components that you need to check off in order to achieve ikigai. Now, the interesting thing about this Japanese formula is that you can tell where you are in life and what you need to work on by looking at the components you have so far. If all you have is something that you love and are good at, then you have what's called a passion. On the other hand, if you have something that you love and you can see how the world needs it, then you have what's called a mission. Now, if you're someone who has something you get paid well for and are good at, then you have what most people in the world have, which is a profession. And finally, if you get paid well and it's something that you know can help the world, then you have what's called a vocation. You need to be spending your time doing something that you love, that you can get better at, that pays well, and that the world needs. Without all 4, you will always feel like you're missing something inside of you.
Follow us for more helpful tips.